And then she comes back and it's like, you were right. I'm sorry. That was root beer. I know it was root beer because I know my Dr. Pepper and I know what it tastes like. Like, you can't fool me. Hey everyone, so thank you for joining me for another episode of Mondays with Mel. As you see, I'm back to no makeup. I'm kind of in a wind down, relaxed mode right now, so I just got a little sweatsuit joint going on, and I have my fro and my Dr. Pepper. What's crazy is that Dr. Pepper is like my favorite soda. I know soda is not necessarily one of the best drinks to have, but hey, I love me a Dr. Pepper, and that's what it is. And it's crazy. Like, speaking of Dr. Pepper, oh my God, that's so good. Speaking of Dr. Pepper, it's like when people find out that I drink Dr. Pepper, they're always like, you drink Dr. Pepper? Like, and I'm just like, yeah, I drink Dr. Pepper. I love Dr. Pepper. Anybody who really knows me knows how much I love Dr. Pepper. It's really like my favorite. And it's crazy because growing up, so I grew up in Boston, there was only like one grocery store that you could find Dr. Pepper at. And it was this grocery store called Capital, which has been long gone for years. And my mom would go there and we'd get Dr. Pepper. It was always like a staple in our household if like it was available, if you could find it. Oh, and there was the Wendy's downtown that for whatever reason always had Dr. Pepper. But it was just a drink that you could not find. You can find it pretty much in any store now, but it just was a drink that you couldn't find. Apparently it was more like a southern thing, because that's how I actually knew about it. I believe my mom was kind of like introduced to it too earlier. Don't quote me on this moment because she does watch these things and she might get a little vexed if I misquote her. But when she first came to this country, she was actually living in Texas, and Dr. Pepper is a popular drink in the South. Like anytime I've gone to like Georgia or any state like Southern, like Dr. Pepper is always a thing, but it was always harder to find up north if you found it at all. Now you find Dr. Pepper everywhere. But for whatever reason, I don't know, people that I encounter, they just find it's weird that I like Dr. Pepper. Like, I don't know. But I love this soda so much. I know what this tastes like in all the flavors with my eyes closed. And let me give you an example of that. A few years ago, I was in DC and I went out to lunch with a friend. And Dr. Pepper was always gonna be my first choice, right? So I asked if they had Dr. Pepper. And she's like, yeah, we have it. And I'm like, okay, that's what I'll have. And she brings it. And no sooner I sip it, I'm like, this is not nobody's Dr. Pepper. It tastes like root beer, which I don't like. I know the taste of root beer, but I absolutely do not like root beer. She comes back and I tell her, I'm like, hey, like, I don't think this is Dr. Pepper. This isn't Dr. Pepper. And she goes, yes, it is. I'm like, well, it doesn't taste like Dr. Pepper. Something's off. She goes, no, it's Dr. Pepper. I'm like, well, can I have something else because this doesn't taste right? She's like, okay, let me see what else they have. And she comes back and it's like, you were right. I'm sorry. That was root beer. I know it was root beer because I know my Dr. Pepper and I know what it tastes like. Like, you can't fool me. So anyway, I ended up having to drink something. I love Dr. Pepper, all the flavors. My new joint right now is that cream soda Dr. Pepper. Oh, it's probably like my favorite. So now that I've gone on this rant about how much I love Dr. Pepper, let's talk about my last week. So the last week was a lot. Like, yo, I can't even believe that we're in mid-December. 2023 is about to be over in a blink of an eye. I feel like the year just started. Like, it's crazy how it's about to be over so soon, and so much has happened to me. Wow, this year was whoa, a lot. And I can't believe it's about to be almost over. But the last week, so it was my second week back at work. Still getting accustomed and getting back into the swing of things in the flow, but I'm not gonna lie, it's been a lot for me. Because I'm still dealing with other issues in my life right now. And the work is just something else that I have to take on, you know? And there's nothing that I can do about that right now because I gotta work. I live in New York City. I got to pay the bills. My thoughts on New York City are like a whole other topic that I'm actually speaking about next week. So stay tuned for that because, whew. But anyway, I live in New York City. I gotta pay the bills. Everything's expensive. So I have to work. But it's a lot right now. So I'm just like really taking the time out on weekends when I do have some free time, downtime, to just, you know, really try to reorganize and figure out things because this can't be life. life in the sense that I just feel like I don't have any free time with the job. And I mean, everybody, like, there needs to be a balance. And yes, I have free time when work is done, but not really, because the day is so long and so draining that by the end of the day, I just don't be feeling like wanting to do anything. Like last week, I went to the gym once, same the week before, once. And it's been since I've been back to work. It's a lot. So some personal behind the scenes things got to reorganize and figure that out on the weekends, because balance of life, quality of life is important for all types of sanities and all types of reasons. So that's something that's still a work in progress. But other than that, as I said, the week was a lot, not just because of work, but then like early on in the week, last Tuesday, a popular artist in the soca community passed away, Ricardo Drew. It's crazy because he was only 38. When like you think about people just passing suddenly, and like you just saw them posting a few hours ago about something, and next thing you know, all of a sudden they show up dead. It's like, oh my God. I didn't know him personally, but the thing about the soca community is that it's not difficult to know people. And I say that because unlike a Beyonce and Jay-Z or something, like when we go to parties, like they're partying with us. You know, Beyonce and Jay-Z, they're not going to be partying with us. Like you see them on the stage far away, and you're lucky if you could see them on the Jumbotron and whatever. Like that's the closest you're going to get to them. But in the soca world, they're one of us. I am a front stage person, so if they're performing on stage, I'll just be right there up in front of them. In the party and the rest of the parties, they're jamming with us in the crowd too. Like, so we see them, we talk to them. You know what I'm saying? So it feels like a closer connection. It is a closer connection. So when one of them passes, it's like, even if you don't know them personally, it hits home, because it's just like, wow, like we were just jumping up in a fed a few weeks ago. We were just jumping up here and there. You were just on stage telling everybody to put their hands in the air and jump in a circle. Like, so when that happens, it's devastating. It's devastating. And it just drives back into points that I've been trying to make for years, even before the pandemic. And the pandemic pointed it out even more, is that forget tomorrow not being promised. Today is not promised. Today is not promised to anyone. I could be recording this, and the next 5 minutes, that could be it. I mean, God forbid, I'm not trying to put that out in the air, but it's reality. And I just wish that people would understand that more. I mean, a lot of people claim they understand it, but I feel like they don't understand it, because if they did, I feel like a lot more people would take the time out to just be kind to others. Especially people that are supposed to be in your circle, people that are supposed to care about you, love you, do things, friends, family, and things. I've encountered a lot of situations with people that said they cared about me, but then like their actions just speak a completely different language. And it's like, I understand life happens. Everybody's going through things, and we handle situations differently. I for sure know that. But I've just been like in experiences with a few people where, they say they care, and then they say some of the meanest things to you, or they do the meanest things, and then just tell you to get over it, or they ignore you, and then months, years pass by. They may all of a sudden want to come back up and act like nothing happened, like you didn't forget, like get over it, like this and that. And it's just like, but if you cared about me, how could you act that way? How could you do those things, And to me, I just feel like, if people kept that in the back of their mind, or in the front of their mind, I should say, more often, it'd be a little kinder. The thing is, people are human. I get that. People are human. We're not perfect. And I don't expect anybody to be perfect. I am not perfect. We make mistakes, but it's just like, to continually badmind a person or do something wrong to a person continuously over and over again, it's just regardless, because in your head you're thinking, well, next few weeks I can deal with that, next couple of years I can deal with that, I don't need to be bothered with this person this time. This is like, if something were to happen to them and this is how you left things off, how would you feel? I always try to keep that in my forefront. It's one of the reasons why, because I don't let a lot of people get close to me at all, as a matter of fact, because I can come off standoffish when I'm not meaning to. I just like to mind my business. That's how I was raised, mind my business, whoever. But because I am like that, a lot of people take offense to it and think like I'm so mean until if we happen to build a rapport and they see that's not the case at all. I'm just a person that likes to mind my business, and I can't be fake. I am not a fake person. I don't know how to be fake at all. I wear my feelings on my sleeve for sure. I've always been that way. So I don't really let a lot of people get close to me like that, because once we're in together, we are in together. I am your friend for life. We don't have to talk every day, but I am your friend for life. I am loyal to a team. And when people that are close to me that I allow in that circle hurt me, it just takes on a whole different level for me, because it's just like, how could you do that? And I honestly just become like a different person, because I just can't believe that somebody that I would trust like that to enter my personal circle, my personal space, could do me like that. But I say all this to say, it's unfortunate what happened to Ricardo Drew. It really is. And I'm feeling it. And if I'm feeling it, being somebody that didn't personally know him, my heart goes out to his family, his friends, his children, everything. But I just say this as a reminder just to be like, yo, be kind to people. If something happens between you and a friend, a loved one, family, whoever it is, like, don't let it salt it forever, because it's not worth it in the end. But at the same time, sometimes, because I also feel like that and I express my feelings to people that I care about, what I'm finding is difficult is, when do you stop being like, I guess, the bigger person in a sense? Like I said, I know things happen and people handle things differently, life happens and stuff. But it's like, if I have a disagreement with somebody I care about and I continually try to step up and, check on the person still, or, just try to keep the lines of communication open. But if they're not returning any type of energy to me, any type of response to me, it's like, how long do you continue trying to be in front of that person, trying to look out for that person, reach out to that person, if they're not being responsive? So that's like my struggle these days, and it's a struggle that I've actually been encountering quite a lot in the past few months with people in my life, which is like crazy to me. But it happens. Growing pains, I guess. Yes, I say all this to say, like, just be kind. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end things today, because again, like I've been saying, I don't want these things to be very long. Thank you again for joining me on this Monday. Again, send in your thoughts, questions, comments. I am going to go off now and hopefully have a great week, a better week than the last. And I hope you guys have a great and productive week too. Let me leave with my Dr. Pepper. See you guys next week.